We are back with another monthly wrap-up of some of the weird, bizarre, and even scary news to come out of Japan over the last month. So what happened over the last month or so? Let's take a look. Number 1. Around the start of November, a kindergarten in Koga City, Fukuoka Prefecture, noticed something odd. The children's indoor slippers, which are generally kept in shoe boxes by the front door, were going missing. This wasn't a case of children simply forgetting where they put them or even taking them home. They were literally disappearing, and only sometimes did they find them again, scattered around the schoolyard. The police were informed just in case a weirdo was at work, and in order to find the culprit, they installed security cameras. And who exactly was it stealing the kids' shoes? Well, it was a weasel. Cameras caught the sneaky little creature appearing from the shadows and then ransacking the shoe boxes before running off with his goodies. Both police and staff at the kindergarten were shocked, but also relieved. It was simply the work of a cheeky little weasel. And although no warrant has been put out for his arrest, they still haven't recovered the missing shoes. For now, they're putting up netting while they figure out how best to deal with the situation. Number 2. On November 15th, a 49-year-old man was arrested in Tokyo after being suspected of stealing from a convenience store. When a staff member suspected the man was concealing items with no intent of paying, the man ran and the staff member chased him, dropping several items as he fled. It was also reported the man headbutted the staff member a few times, causing injuries that would take weeks to recover from, before police caught him. The reason this story made the news was, well, the visuals of the man. As you can see, he has a large snake tattoo covering most of his face, and is wearing grills as well. Not the most common sight in Japan, where tattoos are still frowned upon and generally associated with delinquents or organized crime. The story got even more confusing, however, when locals who were interviewed about the man claimed they were shocked because he was usually so polite, and his demeanor very gentle. His scary appearance, apparently, was just that. Inside, he was a big softie. But again, that later got turned on its head when even more people were interviewed after the fact, and they claimed that actually he wasn't the nicest guy. He often bothered locals for cigarettes or money when they passed by, and police found messages on his social media basically dealing in trading prescription medicines. Some locals had also seen him dealing with the police before as well. While some were initially put off by his appearance, their limited dealings with him left them with a generally nice impression, while others saw him as little more than a local nuisance. Everyone has several sides to them, after all, although we probably don't all have facial tattoos and grills. Number 3. It was reported last month that a 40-year-old office worker from Okayama had been arrested for a second time for crimes committed against a 45-year-old male acquaintance. And what crimes did he commit? Well, he apparently tied the man to a gas pipe with a chain around his neck, pinched his nose with crab claws, and even pushed him into a bath full of hot water. According to police, the 40-year-old kept the man confined for a period of 5 days, from May 2nd to 7th this year. He was arrested shortly after the fact for habitually abusing the man, but it seems he was let go, and just recently arrested again. When asked about why he did it, the man replied, "I have nothing to say. I will stay silent." Police are still investigating. No word on whether the crab was alive at the time or if the man just happened to have crab claws nearby. Either way, I have questions. Number 4. Last month, it was announced that the Warner Brothers studio tour in Tokyo was recalling a product that was on sale from March of last year to April of this year. That product? A replica of Godric Gryffindor's sword, coming in at 86 centimeters long and sold for a cool 30,000 yen. But why were they recalling it? Was it somehow defective or faulty? Well, no, and that was kind of the problem. It was recalled because it turns out it broke Japan's strict firearm and sword possession control law. It was deemed the sword was too realistic. It's important to note that Japan is incredibly strict on both guns and swords, and what classifies as one, including replicas. Although this particular sword was sold with blunt edges and attached to a display, police determined that it was still pointy enough to be used as a real sword, and so all 351 units that were sold would have to be recalled. Fans not wanting to part with their precious replicas after the call to return them would be breaking the law and face the appropriate punishments. Ouch. Number 5. For all you folks who like to try weird and potentially vomit-inducing food and drink items, this next one is for you. Last month, Lawson announced a new drink that's sure to fire people up in one way or another. Drinkable mayonnaise. Yes, you heard that right. Drinkable mayonnaise in a cup meant for drinking. Now, mayonnaise obviously isn't a traditional Japanese food, but after it was imported there early in the 1900s, it quickly became beloved, and you can find it in all sorts of places you might think it shouldn't belong. Like, for example, pizzas, sashimi, ice creams, and other food crimes. So, why not a drink? To give Lawson some credit, it apparently isn't actual mayonnaise in a cup, but rather a drink designed to mimic the unique taste of mayo. Responses online have varied from, "It was like drinking watered down mayo," to, "Every time I drank it, I screamed." "It's so foul, it'll kill you," said another. According to mayo experts, it really just feels and tastes like drinking mayo. Delicious. But if you want to partake of some food crimes yourself, you can grab the drinks now for a mere 198 yen. Number 6. An amusing sign found in a store in Nikaho City, Akita Prefecture, started doing the rounds last month after a visitor shared a photo on Twitter. "If you're found shoplifting, you'll be dropped off in the Nikaho Sea. If you plan to steal, please do so after saying goodbye to your family." The sign even comes with a neat little map pointing out exactly where they'll abandon you. Lovely. The store in question is the KNC Diner, which specializes in American-style hamburgers. When interviewed, the owner reported that shoplifting was a concern when they first started business, so they wanted to put up a sign warning people. They figured a regular no shoplifting sign would be useless, so they decided to make a funny one instead. They've been doing this at their stores around the country, but they feel the threat is more effective in towns like this one that are actually close to the sea. And if you're wondering whether anyone has actually braved stealing from them, seems shoplifting hasn't been a problem. So one way or another, the sign works. Number 7. On November 18th, around 1:30 p.m, a janitor at the Yamato Betsuin Cemetery in Nara made a grisly discovery. A hand sticking out of the soil. The janitor immediately called the police, who exhumed the body and carried out an autopsy. They determined the body to be that of a woman older than 70, who likely died a few weeks earlier, although they couldn't find out why. But who buried the woman there, and why? The answer to this one was surprisingly close to home. The person who apparently buried the woman there was her 71-year-old son. The following day, police arrested him on suspicion of abandoning a corpse. The man admitted that it was him, and that the woman was his mother. The plot where he buried her in the cemetery was also his family's plot that they were already renting. So what's the problem? Well, Japan doesn't really bury people anymore. People are cremated, and their ashes interred in their family plots. The problem is that he straight up buried his mother's body in the ground, which is very much not legal. Also, police are still doing testing to determine if the woman actually is his mother or not. So it seems this story might not be over just yet. Number 8. Some people just want to watch the world burn. Especially, it seems, if they were the ones who lit the fire in the first place. Last month, a 71-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of setting fire to a yakiniku restaurant in Nishinari Ward, Osaka. And how was she caught? Well, security cameras caught her standing by to watch the blaze. The fire took place in July of this year. Cameras caught the elderly woman walking with her cane and an umbrella, and a few moments later, a fire broke out in the restaurant behind her. She then stood there and watched it, as residents who lived in the same building as the restaurant fled outside. The woman then showed up again the following day, and a man who ran another shop nearby found her behaviour strange. When he questioned her, she brushed him off and hurried away. With the security camera footage, police had enough to bring the woman in for questioning, and she admitted to the charges, although she denied trying to burn the apartments that happened to be in the same building. No reason was given as to why she tried to burn the restaurant, however. Number 9. In some much lighter and even perhaps somewhat whimsical news, the idol group Idol Class New posted a tweet on November 25th asking their fans to do something rather unique. One of their members, apparently a girl still only in the 6th grade of elementary school, still believes in Santa Claus, according to the company. And so, they'd like any fan interactions with her in the lead up to Christmas to not burst that bubble for her. I'm not going to get into the ethics or morals of debuting a 12-year-old idol, but responses to the rather unique request were, at the very least, wholesome and fully supportive. At the very least, let's pray she gets to enjoy a world where Santa exists for a little while longer. Number 10. Finally this month, some incredibly strange news from my Japanese hometown of Matsue City, Shimane Prefecture. I'm not even sure where to begin with this one. So, Matsue is considered to be an old town, and it's very proud of its old samurai heritage as well. It seems that last month, one event went a little too far, however, when they organised a seppuku contest. Yes, you didn't mishear that. According to a local ad, organisers were calling for people to show up to the City Hall on December 14th with their best plastic swords, so they could demonstrate, well, removing their own guts and writhing around in fake pain afterwards. Right. The person who could act this out the best would win. But the most pressing question here, of course, is why? Why on earth would you hold a contest for something like this? Well, it seems it was to attract people to a flea market taking place at the same time. And they got the idea by watching a girl at a different event pretend to stab herself with a toy sword one time. Her acting was so funny that it drew other people to watch. Of course, smarter heads prevailed, and the outcry over such an event caused them to cancel it entirely. For the best, really. And that's just some of the weird, bizarre, terrifying, and also kind of funny news that came out of Japan last month. But what about you guys? Hear of anything odd or terrifying? Weird or funny? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.